What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and Spider-Man No Way Home is finally here. And between the audience reaction and the box office numbers that look to be absolutely monstrous, it is perfectly clear that when you give audiences what they want, when you give fans what they want, they will show up in droves to support you. And it is also proving that for those of us who have been critical of Disney and the MCU and the direction it's going, that we were 1000% correct. We have heard excuse after excuse for why these movies underperformed the last few years, why Black Widow did what it did, why Shang-Chi, they tried to pretend like it was some stunning, incredible victory because it made a few $1 million. And then, of course, Eternals, which was a box office flop. We heard the excuse of, well, it's just COVID. We can't get people to show up because of COVID. Spider-Man No Way Home is blowing that out of the water because not only are people showing up in the pandemic, but they're showing up in numbers that may be greater than we've seen for almost any other MCU movie before in history, regardless of any pandemics that are out there. We see all of these different reports right now. Spider-Man No Way Home Thursday box office is the highest since Endgame. And you do have to take into consideration the fact that, yes, factor in inflation, especially over the past year, inflation's been pretty rough. But when you look at direct theater comparisons, AMC theaters eclipsed box office records with Spider-Man No Way Home achieving the highest December opening night ever and their second highest opening night of all time. So by second highest opening night of all time, that would also include a movie like Infinity War. So right now for AMC, which is charging probably more per seat, no doubt right now, than they were for Infinity War, you got to factor that in. But right now they're saying that it is eclipsing what they saw for Infinity War. And if we go to some of the numbers on this, when you look at Infinity War 2018, opening weekend for Infinity War. Let's go to the box office here. Domestic box office opening, $257 million. This movie, early estimates, we don't have really any hard numbers or expectations of what to see yet. We'll probably know a little bit more about that later today, but definitely tomorrow on Saturday. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home has been said to be like tracking around $290 million, $300 million potential. That is absolutely insane, especially if it's doing anything like Infinity War numbers. In comparison, look at what we were told was a great triumph. Shang-Chi, right? When it made, what, $75 million? They said, well, it's during the pandemic. That's really amazing. That's really incredible. You have to consider that. We heard the same excuses with Black Widow. We heard the same excuses with Eternals. We have seen the MCU fatigue when it comes to all these characters that people are not interested in. But when you bring it back, right? When you give them a character they care about, I'm not going to have any spoilers. Don't worry about that. But when you bring in other people that they care about, right? And it's done in what they feel like is a respectful way, people will show up. People will give them money. It blows their entire narrative about the success of the MCU out of the water. You now have no defense. You have no defense for these movies failing because right now, more people are locking down. More people are required passports to get into some of these places in different states. Arguably, right now, a lot of places in the country and around the world are going to be more locked down now because of Omicron than they were in June, in July, in August, when some of these other things were released. I did a full review. You can go check it out. It's like my fresh out of the theater thoughts and reviews, spoilers as well, over on my RK Outpost live channel. I'll put a card to that up here so you can check it out. I'll probably put a link in the description as well. But I said I think it's the best movie since Infinity War, and the reason is because it wasn't woke. There was no agenda. Is there going to be maybe a line picked out here or there? Probably, I think I have an expectation of what those might be, but for the most part, that's not what it was about. And I think personally, the way this ended, I think a lot of people are going to be more excited for the future of Tom Holland as Spider-Man than ever before, because there were a lot of criticisms about Tom Holland and how this Spider-Man was. I don't think people will have those same concerns going forward, and they might even be more interested in him going forward after this movie. And the way that Sony went about this, and that is the big thing. This is a Sony movie, not a Disney movie. Is it in the MCU? Absolutely. But it is a Sony movie. And I think the lack of agenda and identity politics is clear in that, to be quite honest with you. Not that Sony's some, holier than thou. They never do woke or identity politics. But when you look at the movies, the Marvel movies that Sony has made recently, yeah, they're agenda free, they're identity politics free. It shouldn't be a surprise that basically the only Marvel movie you should really consider a success this year was Venom. Shang-Chi, yeah, again, maybe made a couple $1 million. That's it. That's a joke that's being celebrated. Venom 2 made way more money than Shang-Chi did when you're talking about profits. And this movie's going to as well. Not a surprise that of all the Marvel products released this year, the ones that are going to make money are Sony. Because there's not an agenda. They're not trying to shove something down your throat. They don't have some gender swap character. They don't have some race swap character that they're trying to push by stomping on the legacy of something that came before it. No, I think most people are coming away with a very good perspective from this movie. Do I think it's perfect? No. I think it's probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. There's some problems, especially early on. And also, everything that happened in the movie, what the ramifications could be that really aren't addressed. But in general, I think it was really good. Again, best MCU movie since Infinity War, which is not really that high of a bar, but still, this is obvious. The reaction has been obvious that when you give audiences what they want, they will come out and support you. No longer can these people say, well, it's just the pandemic, that's why these movies failed. That doesn't work. This movie blows that argument out of the water. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my PO box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.